that leads us and guides us into all truth, who keeps showing off Jesus. Bam, 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 bam. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Yeah, but no, go but then. Go but someplace else, Go but. The Spirit of God, the end of Exodus is all about, and you will be filled with the Spirit of God, and the glory of the Lord shall be upon you. Rise and shine. And there will be something about the people of God, the people of grace, that the world will see. And they will say, there is none like you. While we're singing, there is none like you, God's saying, yeah, and there's none like you either. Do you believe me? That there's none like you. That's the book ends like that. They're having encounters, which they need, which we need, but there's the recognition of there's the abiding, indwelling presence of the Spirit of God and the glory. He ain't going anywhere. In John, the beginning of John, where it says the Word became flesh and dwelled, he made his home. There's so many different ways you could look at it among us. He pitched his tent is really a good way of looking at it. Some Bibles say he tabernacled. It's a reference back to the end of the book of Moses, that now we have seen the glory that disappeared for so long, the glory that in the beginning of Samuel, when Eli's daughter-in-law says Ichabod, she names the kid Ichabod because the glory of the Lord has departed. When Joshua gets into the promised land, the word glory is mentioned once in the entire book. You see this whole absence of the glory of God. Why? Because he's living in this tabernacle, so to speak, and it's a constant reference of a time that is coming. We see the appearance in Solomon's temple. We see in 1 Kings 8, when the glory of the Lord fills the temple, they're not able to minister, everybody falls on it. We get this thing happening with the glory of the Lord through the Old Testament. But John is making a reference and saying, but that is the old, and we've ushered in the new, and the new is Jesus Christ. If you want to go to buildings, you can do that. I hate to disappoint you, but he doesn't live in buildings. And if his presence is stronger in a building someplace, it has nothing to do with the building, it has to do with the people. People are hungering and thirsting and saying, God, possess me. I want to see your glory. I hunger and thirst for you, your face and your face alone. And you get a group of people hungering and thirsting, not for a show for 2 hours, so then I can go home and screw around for the next 6 days, but of people that are really hungering and thirsting. That's why he's there, because he's people-oriented. He's not oriented to the works of our own hands, the buildings that we build. He has already built a place. It's called earth. The whole earth is full of his glory. That's his temple, so to speak. And then personally, abiding in us, the Spirit of God in us has been his plan and his goal all along. Not to visit us. It's probably one of the most frustrating things with prayer. I mean, God's God, so he's well on top of it. But I wonder how frustrating it could be, not for God, that we place all this emphasis on certain things. And God's saying, I'm with you and I'm in you all the time. That was the picture. I'm on you. I'm in you. I want to lead you. I want to talk to you. I want you to talk to me. How much time? All the time. We're everywhere. And he's crying out, he's screaming it. Numbers records a lot of different other instances of the glory of God. It's a cool little study. I'm not going to do it with you guys, but you can do it. They want to kill Moses. The glory of the Lord appears. They have a rebellion. The glory of the Lord appears. There's like different instances in Numbers. It's like, does he only show up when there's trouble? You'd think, if you look at the book of Numbers, you'd think so. He doesn't seem to show up at Sunday school picnics. It's like, when there's a rebellion and somebody's future is at stake, the glory of the Lord appears. So he does appear in times of unbelief, rebellion, complaining. But like I said, there's in the book of Joshua, you get through the whole book of Joshua, it's not until Solomon's temple, which is like over 500 years from the tabernacle in the wilderness. And then it's 500 years after that, when Haggai says the glory of the latter house shall be greater than the former. And we've had a shift. Very subtle. But a shift. And so what shift? Remember in Isaiah 56:7 on Palm Sunday, you've made my what? My house shall be called a house of prayer. Not my temple, my house. There's been a change that's been taking place from a tent to a tabernacle to a temple. And God is saying, but it's my house. It's my house that I'm talking about, which is a different thing than talking about a temple someplace. It would be a house that functions as a temple for sure, but it's not a temple. It's a house. My house shall be called a house of prayer. The glory of the latter house shall be greater than the former. Today's Palm Sunday. And after all the whole Old Testament, all the prophets, all the writings, all the poetry, the whole thing has been pointing to one thing that Paul desperately tries to reveal to us, Jesus Christ. Much more than your salvation. Salvation would be great. If that was it, that'd be fine. But he's much more than that. Much, much, much more. And on Palm Sunday, when he's coming in, the glory of the Lord, he goes into the temple and he refers to my house. My house. What's become of it? The idea of being with us, externally, internally, the encountering and the abiding presence, it's been about habitation all along. Let's read Psalm 26:8.
Lord, I have loved the habitation of your house and the place where your glory dwells.
27:4.
One thing I have desired of the Lord that I will seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple.
Those are beautiful, aren't they? The wilderness journey that we've been on about was always about a cloud. It started with a cloud, remember that? It started with a cloud. The cloud was on their encounters, following his ways. Cloud of witnesses were referred to as a cloud of witnesses, a community. It's always about the cloud and the indwelling, abiding glory. We're having an encounter now on earth that is ultimately going to lead us into eternity, the eternal glory